I do gotta say, you gotta impact the people, right? You want to be the person that's remembered, the person that always was able to talk to somebody, reach out to somebody, and the person that was approachable. That's how you impact the organization on a bigger aspect by impacting the people.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Team Reinvented Gaming Podcast. I'm here with U.S. Marine motivator, someone I knew for a long time. Yeah, the motivator part. Maybe not so more, not so much anymore. But here with Felix Batista. Felix, thank you for being here on the podcast, man.
Hey, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, thank you. So yeah, let's get started. So, the elephant in the room, we met back in 2015. We were both joining the Marine Corps. You're still in, and I got out about 3 years ago and everything. One thing as well. Anything he says it's not reflecting Marine Corps. I would say that. All his opinions, his personal, and everything. But yeah, we met a while ago. It's good to see you like go from joining the Marine Corps and still in it and still recruiting, giving back to the Marine Corps. So it's very interesting that you're doing that, and I can't wait to dive deeper into why and how your perspective is on certain things that's happening in the world in that realm. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, let's get started. So like my impression. So when I first met you back in 2015, at RSS Monmouth, you were really motivated to join the Marine Corps as we all were. So like why the Marine Corps? And I know we're both from Jersey, but can you give some little backstory as to why?
Why the Marine Corps? Well, I remember I was a junior in high school. I was sitting outside the school, and then some random ass recruiter approached me and gave me like a business card. I didn't see anything behind it at the time. I didn't know what he was doing. He just gave me a business card. He's like, whatever you feel like it, give me a call. I didn't get like that much thought into it. Then I went into senior year, graduated high school, and then it was more like I really just want to go to Brookdale Community College, like back in New Jersey, just you know, go into student debt. I knew if I started working, I wasn't gonna be able to like support both sides of the house. So honestly, I remember the business call, and I went online and submitted a request for information. Not even 20 minutes later, one of the recruiters called me.
Yeah,
So
sounds
yeah,
about
that's
right.
kind of yeah, that's kind of how it happened. Why the Marines over any other branch? Well, at the time, I'm not a good swimmer, so I wasn't really feeling the Navy and the whole like sailor being in the boat life. And just the Army, I just honestly, I didn't like the way that they taught to me. Like they were really lazy about the way they was playing stuff. They didn't carry themselves like they were in the military. I
Mm-hmm.
remember the first time that I walked into the office where was it located? Is what's the name of the
Yeah,
town?
yeah, Red Bank, Shrewsbury.
Yeah, Shrewsbury. Yeah,
Yeah.
Shrewsbury, right? I remember when I first went into the office, I was looking for the Marines and I went into the Army office and I see the recruiter and he was halfway asleep talking like, oh, the Marines are right there. I was like, yeah, I'm not talking to you at all.
Oh
And yeah,
man,
and then the Air Force is nowhere to be found ever. I never, honestly, the first time me ever meeting an Air Force recruiter is here on the duty.
that's crazy. Yeah, they had an office there in Shrewsbury, but we never saw them. Like they were just never in there. But they
And
keep
never.
recruiting somehow. They recruit. But no, that's dope, man. That's dope. Yeah, my story is kind of similar. I um just went to the recruiting office because I knew TJ back then.
Yeah, yeah, I
And I
remember.
went there, and I was like a perfect poolie. I was like, "Oh, I just want to join the Marine Corps, and nothing else." And they're like, "Oh, bet, cool." And then we went from there. How long between you going to the recruiting office, like putting out that initial feeler and filling out that form, to you being shipped to Paris Island?
Okay, so for me, it was a long process. I
Okay.
started the process back in July. The first time I went, I failed the ASPA, got a little too
Oh
cocky.
wow.
Yeah, and then I came back. The recruiter just pretty much told me, "Hey, come back in a month, study whatever." I took it personal. I wasn't gonna let my family know I'm fucking too dumb to join the military, so I was like, "Fuck that." So I studied for like a whole month, came back, passed the ASPA, got a 50 this time. And then I went for the medical exam. I ended up failing the vision test because of my eyesight. So I
Mm-hmm.
needed a waiver for it. So the waiver took like about
Oh wow.
3 months, 3 months and a half to get approved. And then I remember I think it was before or after Thanksgiving, the group gave me a call, hey, your waiver got approved. And I ended up becoming a poolee. I was in the pool officially in the pool from, I think, November. And then I ended up leaving in January because one of the guys dropped.
Oh.
Uh, yeah, I can't, his name started with an M. Is it like Merpan, or whatever? I can't remember his name. And yeah, he ended up not going, and I ended up taking his spot.
Oh wow. So I had no idea that you had those many obstacles while you were trying to join, like filling the ASVAB. What did you say you took it personal? Well, most people, if they go to join the military and they fail the ASVAB, they'd be like, "Well, I guess I'll go do something else." What made you study again and pass it?
It's more like I'm not gonna let anything determine like who I am, especially a test. So that's especially why I took it personal.
Oh wow. No,
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. Well, I'm happy. Good for you. That's great. That's inspiring. So join the Marine Corps. You're in the Marine Corps. Where were you stationed when you first joined? Like when you first got to the fleet?
I was in Okinawa, Japan for 2 years
Okay,
exactly. Yeah, then I ended up PCS into California. I was there for 2.5 years,
nice,
and then I ended up PCS in here.
nice,
Now
nice.
I'm here in Miami, Florida.
A Miami. Yeah, we went Oki at the same time on Hanson. And
Yeah,
I was
same
also
thing.
on Courtney a little bit, but I don't think we ever. I think we crossed paths a couple times up in Kintown.
Yeah, I saw you a few times. You got there a little after me though, I think, or was it before me?
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I got there before you. I got to Oki in November, like December 2016.
No, I was there before you.
Oh well,
I
my
got there
school.
in
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. I guess my schoolhouse was. Yeah, my schoolhouse was like pretty
Like
long.
longer. Yeah,
Yeah.
my schoolhouse is like 6 weeks, you're done.
Oh man. So yeah. So cool. Dope. So you won enlistment in the Marine Corps. We all know how that goes for those of us who joined the Marine Corps. Those of
Yeah.
us who went to Okinawa, and then in California. Where did you go in California?
I was stationed in Camp Pendleton,
Okay.
21 area to be specific. I was over there with Math Support Battalion for like 2 years and a half.
Okay.
So it wasn't bad. I was like right next to the beach. Like
Yeah.
it was a good location to be at.
Okay. It wasn't 29 Palms. Okay. I just wanna.
100% agree.
Okay. So Camp Pendleton. Cool. So you do want enlistment. Why did you re-enlist? What? So when did you re-enlist? What year? So I get an idea of when, and then why.
Okay, so at the time I enlisted mostly. So I was a corporal. I put in my enlistment. I was already thinking about getting out and everything. I think it was more driven because of my friends. Like we had like a good camaraderie between the corporals.
Mm-hmm.
So most of my friends they were like, "Yeah, just put in the package. We all doing it anyways. You can always just
Interesting.
deny it. Yeah, you can always just deny it because even if you
Yeah.
put in the package, when the package comes back approved, you got 7 days to say yes or no. Either way. So I ended up doing it. And I put in the package. My other friend released it. I was like the last one to get approved. And then honestly, I was like, I don't have any family. I don't have kids, so I don't see why not write it out. That was my whole mindset behind it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and
Did you?
then at the time, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Did your time in the Marine Corps contribute to your decision to re-enlist? Because people don't. I want people to understand. Re-enlisting in the military is a very small percentage of people that re-enlist in the military. In the Marine Corps, in particular, it's even smaller. So when I hear someone re-enlisted, you said it's because your friend group, right, was re-enlisting, which means your friend group has some influence on you, right, in that regards.
Yes.
Re-enlisting is great, but whether you get in or stay in or get out, it doesn't matter. You still do great things. But did your time? I'm assuming your time in the Marine Corps was favorable compared to other Marines. Like, no, people go through hard stuff. I know, but would you say your time in the Marine Corps kind of contributed to you wanting to re-enlist?
Okay, so my half of the time the Marine Corps contributing to that. I gotta say my first 2 years and a half were actually pretty. They were the greatest, especially being stationed in Okinawa, Japan. The one thing you gotta understand about being overseas is that you work a lot because you don't have any family. Remember, you over there to kind of like get the mission ready and get everything done. You don't have any family, so you can work hours might not be the same as somebody that gets stationed in the States at first,
Yeah.
right? So at least my first 2 years in Japan, it was just work, 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 work. But then when I got to Pendleton, when I got to California, I saw the other side of the Marine Corps, being able to have a car. At least at the time when I was in Oki, you were not allowed to have a car unless you were like corporal, you were extended. Now it's different. Now anybody can have a
Yeah.
car, PSC, Lance Corporal, it don't really matter. But I got to Cali, I was able to have a car. I was able to pretty much kind of go far on the weekends, drive up. I just come back to work on Monday and work, 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 and then relax on the weekend. So I gotta say that kind of influenced me a lot into like staying in the Marine Corps, kind of giving it another try. And then somebody told me, I had a conversation with a higher up about the reason I wanted to stay in, and then they always told me it was like, I don't want anybody to remember my time in the Marine Corps like, oh, I just see 4 years and got out. I kind of wanted to do something more.
Hmm.
Like I didn't feel ready to hang up the boots yet. So
Very well. Nice. No, that's great. That's great. You got that perspective, and that you one you change duty stations. So, and those are very two different duty stations. So you got a different perspective, and it really opened your eyes to the good
yes,
and the bad. You know. So you reenlist. Cool. When did you decide to become a drill instructor? When did you get? I'm assuming. I don't think you got histed, right? I'm assuming you
I don't know.
volunteered.
I actually volunteer.
Okay.
So at the time we got a whole like class about reenlistments and all that. We got a class about recruiting, and I remember the recruiters of the office how like good of a experience. Like I remember Cesar Santana at the time, Saran
Hmm.
Rodriguez, Master and Diaz. Now I still talk to him
Yeah.
every now and then. Like the good influence they had on me, especially coming into the office. They taught me a lot in the last 6 months that I was there. So I kind of wanted to see if I was able to influence people the same way they actually influenced me. That's the reason why I picked recruiting, because I thought like my dream instructors were cool and everything, but I only saw them for 2 weeks. After that, I never even spoke to them again. So that didn't really make that much of an impact. Besides, of course, it made me a Marine and everything. But as a person, as a human being, that didn't impact me as much as my
Hmm.
recruiters did.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's great. I remember. Obviously, I'm on Facebook, I'm on social media, just to know that we're friends on and everything. And I see you interact with all the recruiters and former Marines um, that we all know. And so interesting. So that's why you became a recruiter. Yeah, the impact is real, right? And I think now and ever in 2023 that recruiters are needed more than ever. And I think how you recruit and who you are as a person definitely contributes to that, right? Not speaking from experience, I'm not a recruiter, right? But understanding the Marine Corps mindset and stuff like that. So you're currently recruiting in Miami, Florida. Seems like a good location to recruit in. Could be worse. um, what? So let's double back real quick. So 2023, right? We all know the Marine Corps has a retention problem, right? For various reasons that we can go into or not, right? How has that affected you recruiting? Have you changed any of your methods? And has the priorities of recruiting changed in recent times?
I do gotta say something about the Marine Corps itself. The Marine Corps hasn't changed when it comes to the recruiting aspect of the house at all.
Okay.
We are honestly the only branch that has kept it the same.
Okay.
The only difference from now, especially to back in the day, is the waiting time when it comes to like any kind of waiver or medical documents or anything like that. Those get approved faster compared to what it used to be before, like the wait time window. But I do gotta say the Marine Corps has kept it 100 the whole time when it comes to recruiting in the
Mm-hmm.
whole aspect of we're not gonna throw money at you. You already know what you're getting yourself into, and this is the Marine Corps. If you don't like it, you shouldn't be here to begin with,
Yeah. No, yeah.
right?
Marine Corps is very big on tradition, as we know. So no, I'm glad that they haven't changed from that aspect. Has any of your marketing strategies changed? Because I know recruiters usually on social media and do stuff like that. But from a marketing person to person interaction type of vibe, Do you still go to schools? You still go to that? You still do social media? Has any of your marketing strategy changed with the creation of certain social media websites and stuff like that? Like, was it pretty bread and butter?
Okay, so I know there's a lot of people talk about a lot about recruiters, or like, or recruiters life, or recruiters tell you this, or recruiters tell you that, especially nowadays with the whole social media aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
With the
can.
whole social media, yeah, with the whole social media aspect, I do gotta say that the recruiting environment is a lot more honest than what it used to be back in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially when you talk to somebody like back in the day, oh, I joined the Marine Corps back in 2002, 2005, 2011, they usually are like, oh, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, or the recruiter didn't tell me this, the recruiter didn't tell me that. And that's a lot of negative publicity. I do gotta say, back in the day, it was back in the day that there was a whole Iraq Afghan war going on, different times, different kind of mindset. But I do gotta say, there's a lot of resources online. Anything that I ever tell anybody, is up for questioning because of the internet. So if you ever feel like especially when I talk to people here, it's like if you ever feel like I'm not answering your questions correctly, or that I'm not being honest, you can always fact check me. Everything is public knowledge. Now there's
Yeah.
literally not a single secret about any recruiting jobs, bonuses, or anything like that. Everything's public knowledge.
Yeah.
I do gotta say, tell a lot of people there's opinions and there's facts. So you got to understand, everybody, depending on their time in the Marine Corps, they're going to have different opinions about X, Y, and Z. But there's actually the fat, black and white side of the house as well.
Very well. Yeah. Yeah. That's a very interesting point. With technology and the vast social media atmosphere we have in 2023, yeah, people can really find out everything they need to know from boot camp videos, you know, to people like you talking on this podcast right now, giving them the 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 whole 9 yards, right? To people on
Mhm.
other social media. That's very interesting. So yeah, it's interesting that we coach staying traditional and you still have that atmosphere to go off of. I know you mentioned traditional and the Marine Corps doing things, you know, and the methods they kept doing in telling the truth and being a good recruit and a good person. Has has retention? Have you felt the effects of the retention crisis the Marine Corps says it has?
So
If you want to answer
the
that, not
the
yeah.
yeah, I can answer it. So the whole like retention to recruiting aspect of the Marine Corps, at least back in the day, the Marine Corps was always more focused on gaining new people than retaining people, has always been like that. At least you can look this up. This is public knowledge. It's on Google.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Marine Corps statistics, the Marine Corps has always been 65% recruiting effort, and then the rest will be retaining effort. What we're trying to do right now, we're actually trying to move away from that. We're trying to more focus more on retention
Okay.
than recruiting. We're trying to find the Marine Corps is on it's on a weird spot right now. It's trying to find the balance between moving away from recruiting and putting on that effort into retention. But I think it's doing a lot better now. I do gotta say, for example, everybody that anyone that was a junior Marine for me back in the fleet has stayed in the Marine Corps. Rare few amount has actually gotten out of the Marine Corps. So I think the Marine Corps is doing a lot better when it comes to retention,
Mm-hmm.
especially putting into a lot of money into birds, shell house. We get paid a lot more than what we used to get paid back there. Getting BAs, being able to get what you want, being able to kind of have an opinion about a lot of stuff, like
Yeah.
compared to what it used to be back then. So I think the Marine Corps is actually doing good when it comes to like their whole retention aspect of the house. And then, like I said, but at least now we don't do a lot of recruiting bonuses, but our retention bonuses, being able to stay in, being able to like move to this job, being able to do all that, being able to get 90K just moving into an intelligence kind of job, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the Marine Corps is putting most of the money into now.
So you don't feel the effects of the retention. So you're saying that over the years, how long have you been recruiting for?
I've been in a recruit for 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay, so over the last 2.5 years, which I think 2021, 2023, pretty significant years, right, in the military atmosphere.
Yes.
You haven't seen or felt the effects of retention.
We definitely failed COVID for like a little bit,
Okay.
especially because of COVID. With down every branch in the military kind of down their numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the reason why every other branch is kind of like into the whole like recruiting struggle because of COVID. It's not
Okay.
because people don't want to join, it's because everybody's feeling the rippling effects of COVID. At least the Marine Corps has to be able to keep it up. And we, so far, we have been the branch that's actually pretty much kind of like making their rebuilding mission
Mm-hmm.
throughout the years. But at least for me now, our numbers are not as high as it used to be back in 2014, 2015. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember people talking about, oh, back in my day, I used to put like 7 people a month in the Marine Corps. Nowadays, that's hard,
Yeah.
but it's not required. Like our numbers are not as high as they used to be back then.
Okay. Okay. So interesting. So the quotas and the numbers, the quotas aren't as demanding as used to be back then, and the retention issue kind of stemmed across all branches from COVID itself. That's where the narrative really came from because during COVID, a lot of things were shut down. It was harder to logistically move people, the whole 9 yards, and that's where that retention narrative really came from. Interesting, interesting, interesting. No, yeah, that's it's an interesting perspective. It really is. So Miami, Florida, recruiting. Recruiting is usually a 3-year stint, right?
Yes.
So you have 6 more months, or do you plan on like extending?
No, I already have orders. I only got 6 more months left.
Okay, so you got what it. Okay, so do you plan on doing 20 years in the Marine Corps?
Uh, I never say I'm planning on doing 20 years, so I definitely taking 4 years at a time.
That's a good
I do gotta say,
time.
yeah, I do gotta say, at some point in my life, I'm gonna have a family, I'm gonna have a wife. Situations are gonna change,
Yeah,
and that might be when my decisions on getting out of the Marine Corps will come into effect. But at least at the moment, I can see myself doing another 4, especially since I want to move away from recruiting. I want to go back into the Marine Corps, experience a few things that I didn't get to do,
yeah,
and that's where I'll make my ultimate decision. Do I want to keep riding it or do I want to get out?
yeah. Could you?
But but
No, I'm sorry. Could you around what, like 8 years? Around 7, 8,
I've
like
been for 7.5,
7.5.
a little
Yeah,
over 7.5.
yeah. Um, yeah. You know what they say. You know, you do 10, you might as well do 20. No, no. I did. I get what you're saying. 4 years at a time.
That's what I tell everybody. Just take it 4 years at a time. A lot of people jump into a lot of like conclusions over the time. So like, hey, one step at a time, 4 years at a time, and don't overthink everything.
Yeah. So, well, what's next? What's next for you? Going back to the fleet, and you're gonna be doing your original job that you were doing beforehand.
Yes,
Okay, nice,
yes.
nice. Where you going exactly? If you want to tell us.
I'm going to Camp Pendleton. Back to Camp Pendleton.
Oh, back to California where the weather is nice. Hey, Miami to California shouldn't be that much different.
I
So,
know, but Cali's so much better when it comes to weather. Here, the weather is so bipolar. It rains, then it's sunny, then it rain again, then it's sunny again.
oh man, that's funny. That's funny. So, no, yeah, thank you, man, for your perspective on a lot of things. I got a couple more questions. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting to get from the horse's mouth, what it's actually like on the ground and what the retention rate and the recruiting and what these narratives actually mean, right, and how they actually affect you. So you definitely shed some light on the whole COVID thing, on the whole retention thing, and everything like that. And I didn't even know. I watched you from afar. Your story was inspiring me because I knew how you treated our recruiters and I knew the respect you had for them and kind of how much they impacted you. So seeing you become a recruiter was not a surprise to me. But I'm glad that people like you are giving back to the Marine Corps and are staying in, right? Because yeah, we want people. The Marine Corps wants people to stay in, but more importantly, the Marine Corps wants the right people to stay in, right? Um, I,
Yes.
so I've known people who got non-vet for re-enlistment, and that's crazy, as you know. That's insane. Um, I got out just because I kind of had the opposite, not opposite journey. Like I did great things in the Marine Corps and I accomplished all my goals. I was never stationed in America. I was always stationed overseas. But I had people around me who were always getting out. I didn't have people who really re-enlisted because I did 5.5 years as my first contract. So by that 4 year mark, 4 or 5 year mark, I was with people who were already re-enlisted. So pretty much everyone I went through with, grew up in the Marine Corps with, was getting out. So it's very interesting to see both sides of the coin. I loved my time, and I don't regret joining the Marine Corps at all. Met great people, did good things, and but we're on to the next chapter. So a couple more questions is where can people find you? For your personal social. If you want to bring your Marine Corps social, I can try and funnel people your way for the last 6 months. No, but where can people find you? If they want to connect with you, ask you some questions personally or professionally. You got any?
If you got any questions, you can follow me on my personal Instagram. It'll be my first name, Felix Miguel
Okay, yeah, it'll be down
underscore
there.
96. Yeah, underscore 96. You can always follow me on my personal page. And then if any Marines are listening and they got any questions about recruiting, they can always reach out to me.
For sure, for sure. Great, great. And I kind of already know the answer to this question, but I ask everybody this: how do you want to reinvent your industry? And I guess in your perspective, I would ask, what impact do you want to have on the Marine Corps?
What impact do I want to have in the Marine Corps? I know this is gonna sound crazy, but to have an impact in the Marine Corps, at least in the Marine Corps as an organization, you have to be an officer. That's the truth behind it. Oh, that's how you marry in the Marine Corps. Besides that, you're not really gonna impact anything in the Marine Corps at all. Your footprint is gonna be so little compared to somebody that's a higher officer or anything like that. I do gotta say, you gotta impact the people, right? You want to be the person that's remembered, the person that always was able to talk to somebody, reach out to somebody, and the person that was approachable. That's how you impact the organization on a bigger aspect by impacting the people.
Great. I couldn't have said it any better, man. So, Felix, thank you, man. Thank you for being here. Definitely appreciate it. We're getting the podcast up and rolling. You're our first guest in a year or so. So took a little hiatus, but we're back. So I'm definitely grateful to have you on the podcast, and thank you for being here. Your perspective on the Marine Corps, your insights are great. You also provide me all my memes on Facebook, so thank you for that. And yeah, man, yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch and everything. And I'm excited to see what you accomplished. And hey, maybe 10, 15 years from now, if you are the sergeant major of the Marine Corps or something like that,
uh,
it'd be great to see. So
you can definitely hit me up if you want to do a podcast about the fleet without checking how the fleet's going now.
no, yeah, yeah, we might have a round two, um, and everything. So yeah, guys. So that's Felix Batista. Thank you for being here. You can his socials will be down below in the description if you want to connect. And yeah, so I will catch you later. And Felix, I'll talk to you a little bit after. So
Uh,
thank you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.